Hello again and welcome to the land of peaches and sweet tea an hour north of the city of Atlanta. It's a virtual field trip to the state of Georgia for 30 drivers competing around the country in iRacing using GT3 machinery in a motorsports dash for cash. Hosting this event is Sim Racing Chicago, a premier sim racing lounge located in Algonquin, Illinois. The majority of today's competitors are on location on high-end motion rig platforms. To win, they must defeat each other and a handful of competitors across America and keep their GT3 cars out of the Georgia red soil. Welcome to Sim Racing Chicago and welcome to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta for a special Twilight of Summer event. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Heyer, and this morning we'll be competing with the online competitors first, followed by a couple of qualifying sessions for our competitors that are here on location, and shortly after that we'll be competing for cash prizes here from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. This racetrack is extremely fast, just about 2.5 miles and 12 corners of rolling hills and big curbs, huge elevation changes and high speeds. The entry down to turn number 10A is perhaps one of the heaviest braking zones in all of North American road racing. We're going to head onto the racetrack here in just a moment and get qualifying underway with our online competitors, of which we have about 10 of them. And we'll look down from high above here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta with just about 12 minutes left here in our qualifying session. There's a good look at the number 24 of Joshua Tellez, who's on track right now, heading down the hill towards the start-finish line to kick off his qualifying lap. Dave Monona, the first driver to lay down a time here, a 1:18.730, first up here in qualifying. So, cars on course now. At the top of the board, it's Nate Olson in the number 32. Joshua Tellez currently third. Quick Logan Clampett comes to the top of the board in that brand new Ferrari 296. So, top for the time being. Next up, heading down to the first corner, Charlie in the number 64, and off in turn one in a big way. Found his way towards the turn one wall. Ryan O'Connor in the number 95 makes his way up over the crest and heads down the hill towards the start-finish line to see if he can complete his flying lap. He has not yet set a lap time. This time, though, a 1:19.036. That will put him not on the board yet. Illegal lap time, went off track at some point. Peter Kutstra in the number 79, running in that Porsche 911 GT3R. Danielle Veschi in the brand new 296 Ferrari runs fifth right now. Nate Olson currently second quickest. Just about 3/10 off of Logan Clampett in that number 44 Ferrari. Way up the back straightaway now. Looks like he's just on the border of running a little bit quicker than he had previously. And down the hill, looks like he's only down about 0.3 of a second, so he will not improve his lap time this time through. Just 7 minutes remain here in qualifying. Logan Clampitt still at the top of the board right now with a 1:18.33. Working on correcting a name issue here in the timing and scoring, so just hang tight for a moment. I finish that. And then once we get into the race, all about who can qualify into the main event. Cash prizes on agenda today for those that end up winning this competition. It will be a fierce fight all the way through. Timing and scoring here in just a moment, hopefully to fix that name. Dave Winona in the number 3, not Christian Burke, who will be jumping in the in-person sessions here in just a couple minutes' time. No lap times yet for Byron Hayes. For Charlie, the number 64. There we go, we got that name corrected now. As we head down to turn number 10A. Now let's take a quick look here at our track map. Get a sense for what this place feels like. Turn number 1 is a fast 4th gear corner in a GT3 car, and you're going uphill all the while. A blind crest as you come up over the top of it. And when you get to the top, it's turn number 2, which is just a slight kink to the left, but turn 3, you have to turn in before you can see the corner. Jump that curb on the right, and then the downhill through turn 4. And wobbling left and right. Turn 5, a very fast left-hander in a big compression, so you've got tons of grip, but it goes away as you come up over the exit. Big curb on corner exit there. Then a slight overcrest run down to turns 6 and 7. 7, of course, the most critical corner here. Raceway, Road Atlanta. Then the run up through turn 8. It's not really much of a turn. You're flat out all the way through 9 and then into 10. 10A is the left, 10B is the right. Very aggressive climb up over the crest at turn number 11 and then back down into one of the most anticipated corners on the entire racetrack, that being turn number 12. It's a huge drop down a couple of stories from turn 11 to turn 12. Here's a look at the top, here's a look at the bottom, and here's a look at all of it here. Press right before you straighten back out for the main straightaway. Of course, that run to turn number 1. Climb up. So on the schedule for today, we have 3 races happening. This first one is coming up in just a couple of minutes. The race will be a 20-minute event, and of course we'll have our in-sim drivers qualify after this, which we'll show you all the while before we head into our races that will determine the winners. Daniele Vesci in the number 48 Ferrari heading down the hill. This brand new 296. Ferrari's new G3 competitor in global competition. Twin-turbo V6 engine under the rear glass of this car. The entire front assembly comes off with 4 bolts. It's one of the most efficient GT3 designs that I have seen. And of course, it has the typical Ferrari swoopy look to it as well, which plays the part. On board with the 48. Over the right shoulder here of Vesci. And up onto the rumble strip at the exit of 5. That rumble strip is pretty flat once you get up onto it, but the shock to the suspension can throw you sideways if you're not anticipating it. On the brakes into turn number 6, and this is where you have to set up for that critical run down the back straightaway. Really tight to the rumble strip, nicely done. It's a little wide up onto the curbs and grabs a little grass, but now accelerates towards turn 10A and 10B. Speeds climbing now, it should be north of 150 miles an hour by the end of the straightaway. Best lap of a 1:18.851, needs only 4/10 to go to provisional pole. And on the binders here into 10A, nice line. All over the curbing, accelerates up and off, and then down into 10A, or excuse me, turn 12. Down final corner, and will it be an improvement for Vesci this time through? Needs to be a 1, that time it was a 19.3. So, a 5 for the time being. Still no qualifying laps for Byron Hayes, Charlie Gunda, or Ryan O'Connor in the number 95. And Nate Olson, the only other car on track at the moment, will track Veschi down into 5. Like he is off court for the time being. Nate Olson, though, up the back straightaway. Looks like he's good. 2/10 to the good as he rockets down the back straightaway. That Mercedes AMG 3, the Sim Racing Chicago livery adorning the side of this car. Teal and red in color. Watch the brake lights right before that painted line. It's a great braking marker here at Road Atlanta. Nice line through 10A. Stays off the curb at 10B. He'll accelerate up off of the thundering 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8 under the hood here. Front mid-engine platform. Will it be good enough for pole? 118.2, new pole sitter here. Assuming that lap is good, and it was better, but it's not showing as counting, so it must have gone off track. So it will not count. He'll have to go again. Down through the S's and into turn 5. Really aggressive line, and he's making speed again. He's 2/10 to the good. He only needs 3/10 to go to pole. He ran a time that would have been good enough for pole, but went off track somewhere, likely at the apex of turn number 3. That's really where you find yourself off track quite a bit. All the way down to the mid 40-mile-an-hour mark at turn 7 before making the accelerating run up the back straightaway. Right on board over the shoulder again. Ooh, got in the grass slightly before the rumble strip there, but it didn't phase him at all. Will accelerate up off of 10B. 2/10 to the good. He just needs a little bit more to go to the top of the board. Nathan Olson in the number 32. Is it good enough? That time, it is also good enough for a 118.1, but still went off track, and it will not count. He will stay second with just 1 lap left in his qualifying effort here. Oh, there it is. That's where it'll get you, the inside apex of turn number 3. The modern version of the course has that rumble strip extended on the apex, so you can get away with a pretty big cut. But Olson now taking the short course. I think he realizes his qualifying effort over. So that'll put Logan Clampett on top of the board here for qualifying. But here's a look at the Sim Racing Chicago studio. And folks standing around, going to be spectating at least the first segment of this. They will be behind the wheel. Just a couple of... Thanks again for joining us. Sim Racing Chicago, a premier sim racing facility located in Algonquin, Illinois. It is an absolutely fantastic place to participate. And, all right, as we get ready to go. All right, here we go. Behind the wheel of the safety car here. And behind the wheel of the safety car, getting set to go racing here in just a moment's time. It'll be a 20-minute race. Logan Clampett on pole here as we get rolling. So, starting lineup for this race. Logan Clampett on the front row. Nate Olson alongside. Then Dave Monona, Joshua Tellez, Daniel Veschi. Your top 5. Then it's Peter Kutstra, Ryan O'Connor, Byron Hayes, and Charlie Giunta in the number 64. Heading up to the turn 3 apex. Getting tires and brakes warmed up for this 20-minute event will take us about 16 laps. Sort out the winner of this. Clampett on pole by a couple of tenths. Nate Olson, though, found some pace in qualifying, just not enough to take down number 44 of Logan Clampett. field packed up and paired up. Racing into the evening here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, so track temperature cooling off. That will mean plenty of grip available on the opening lap of this race, but you want to make sure your tires and brakes are ready to do the action here. It does. Without that, you'll find yourself off course pretty quickly. Now, the changes to the grass in iRacing have made it a little easier to recover from an off-track excursion, but you still don't want to find yourself in that on the opening lap and lose all that track position. So, field packed up, paired up. Quick facts here. Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, located in Braselton, Georgia. Population 9,000. And of course, this track was built back in 1971. Major alteration was right before 10A. This area used to drop another 15 to 20 feet. Instead of the chicane, it was just a fast S-curve that went downhill and immediately back uphill. That was called the gravity cavity. That was removed in the late 1980s and replaced with this modern chicane. Or 1997, rather, as the track was reconfigured for the American Le Mans Series, then turned into modern iteration of the IMSA WeatherTech Champ. 9 drivers to do battle here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta in the Sim Racing Chicago special event. Everybody getting ready to watch the action here on location, but as the pace car pulls off, Logan Clampitt of the 296 Ferrari, he's the first one to see the green. Green flag flies, and we're racing in this special event. A great start for Clampitt. Olsen drops into second, but has a look at the lead into turn 1. Not able to get alongside. There's Veschi in the number 48 chasing Joshua Tellez in that yellow, highlighter yellow, Mercedes-AMG GT3 up into turn 3 for the first time. Now down the hill towards turn number 5. Clampitt has the advantage. Olsen chases him within about 0.2 of a second. Clampitt wide over the rumble strips. That's fair play out here. Basically everything paved is fair game at Road Atlanta. But will the Ferrari have legs that the Mercedes-AMG does not? The AMG really excels at the slow speed stuff. Peter Kuchtra's off, and a slide for Byron Hayes in the McLaren, and Charlie Giunta just misses him. And he will get back rolling, but he didn't make a lap in qualifying, and that seems to have hurt him here in the race. Didn't practice he needed. Down the backstretch. Veschi has a look at Tellez. That Mercedes pulled away big time in the front straightaway here. Logan Clampitt has the advantage. Olsen, though, right behind on the climb up the hill. Still 0.2 separate. This is what qualifying was separated by, but Olsen found some pace at turn 3. Clampitt wide on the rumble strips. It is Ferrari versus Mercedes-AMG. There's a look at Ryan O'Connor trying to run down Tellez in the 24. And there's Veschi in this blue and green Ferrari 296. Running 6th at the moment. Started this race in 5th place, so he's dropped 1 spot and making his way full. All the while, the 2 drivers at the front trying to separate themselves and make it a 2-man race for first place. Clampitt playing defense. The Mercedes-AMG is right there on top of him. Olsen side by side. Meanwhile, behind them, O'Connor trades spots with Tellez. Move the 95 up to 4th place. 24 back to 5th. Clampitt sweating right now with Olsen right behind him. 17 minutes to go. And the advantages that the Mercedes-AMG has, again, are in those slower sections. The Ferrari seems to have better balance at high speed. Maybe a trend towards understeer on the fixed setup, but something that Logan can drive around with a little bit more trail braking, something that the previous Ferrari didn't really like to do all that much. That being the 488 GT3. Clampitt gained some ground that time, 0.3 between. And Daniel Veschi 3 seconds behind Joshua Tellez, who just lost a spot to Ryan O'Connor, and he himself is running down Dave Monona in the number 3 BMW. Just up the road. Last time by, O'Connor was almost 4/10 quicker, so that would give the 95 enough time and opportunity to run down Dave Monona and potentially have a shot at the podium here. All the while, Clampett feeling a little less pressured at the moment. Olsen closes in the braking zones again. Clampett really good off the corner. That can't overstated how well he is doing right now, especially leaving the turn at Ferrari Red 296. Beating for cash prizes. Clampett knows how to do it. Up over the crest. Here he comes into turn 3. This big curb on the right. He got to nail it. 2 front runners did. Here comes Monona. Big clobber over Georgia Red soil, going airborne there. And Olsen run Clampett back down. Clampett just ran a very good lap time. One of the best I've seen so far today. A 1:17.843 for the number 44. That's a lap time that could win it all today. Ryan O'Connor has Monona in the sights. BMW versus Mercedes-AMG. This is a German GT battle up the back straightaway here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. 5 minutes in, 15 minutes to go. All 3 of the podium runners at the moment just off the windshield, off the nose of this Mercedes. Connor, nice line, and he's still gaining on Monona. Last time it was a 18.5 for Monona, an 18.3 for O'Connor. This time an 18.6 for Monona, an 18.3 again for O'Connor. So still running fast enough to catch that 3rd place car at the moment. It is Ferrari, Mercedes, BMW at the front of the field right now. There's the gap, second back to third, 3.2 seconds. But just 0.8 between the 44 and the 32. Backstretch now. Under 14 minutes to go. Olsen is about matching Clampett's pace, a 17.8 for Clampett last time by, a 17.9 for Nate Olsen. Connor lost a little ground, I think, this lap. Monona found a little pace. Up 4/10 on his personal best lap in that BMW M4. Boomerang there in the windshield displaying the number 3. And that time it was still actually a gain for the 3. Monona was up a 10th on O'Connor, so lengthened that gap back out all the while. Tellez in the 24 and Veschi in the 48. They're closing up for 5th place. Veschi in the 48, 6/10 back and closing on Tellez in that 24 car. Over the shoulder, 296, one of the newest generation G3 cars. With it comes a lot of advancements in electronics and aero technology, something that the previous 488 solved with an Evolution package. 488 GT3 launched into 488 Evo GT. Updates to those things. And the 296, all of that, plus that new Ferrari twin-turbo V6 power plant. Same power plant, in fact, that was used in the 499P prototype car. Or Ferrari's hypercar program in the WEC. The leaders close again. 0.6 of a second between top 2 cars, and just 0.3 between these two, Tellez and Veschi. Up over the crest. Into turn 1, Veschi tries to close this gap. It's just 0.3 between them and closing ever more. Race is almost half over, 12 minutes to go. out of this 20-minute event. Oh, the Mercedes is wide. Veschi a little bit as well. Oh, he had to bobble out of the throttle. Didn't. Oh, he's going to mess up this S's section off on the left. Just got a little bit wrong. And the thing about the S here at Road Atlanta is if you get one wrong, you get them all wrong. And Veschi's still struggling to get the car back under control. He'll lose some ground and have to redo that entire game. Pressure didn't crack Tellez. It cracked Veschi. He'll have to go again. We'll check back in when it closes. Meanwhile, the lead gap. Gain for Olsen last time, a 17.8 to a 17.9 for Clampett. That was a big cut there for Olsen. Really aggressive with the track limits in qualifying, trying to find just that very ragged edge where he can find some pace on the inside apexes without triggering the cut course penalty or an off track. And a ton of invalidations in qualifying. But look at Clampett using the exit of the outer pit lane as a little extra road to turn in and find some extra speed. That was well-placed car control. Olsen just missed the rumble strip there at turn 3. Their gap re-extends to 0.8. The next closest battle is this one, Monona and Ryan O'Connor, who's been making very slow progress on this number 3 machine. But progress nonetheless. 10 minutes to go, halfway through this first race of 3. When this race concludes, it'll be practice sessions to split the in-person field here at the Sim Racing Chicago Sim Lounge, and we will just have camera footage of the facility. We will not be broadcasting that, but when the races kick off, we will be showing all that action. Make sure you stick around. And looks like Veschi reigniting his battle with Tellez, but still a second and a half between. This is still the closest fight on the racetrack that you're watching it. Almost a second now between Clampett and Olsen. Half a second between O'Connor and Monona. Guesses at Road Atlanta are all about precision. If you miss just one, as we saw with Veschi, you get wide at one corner and all of them flow into the next. So it turns an entire sector into a throwaway and you have to try it again the next lap around. That goes both ways. If the driver ahead of you makes a mistake, you get 3 or 4 consecutive corners where you pick up ground. O'Connor is now well within slipstream distance, just 4/10 back, 3/10 back, and gaining an excellent run off of turn 7. With a lot of slipstream here, he should close his gap down to about 2 car lengths, maybe 1, by the time they get to the braking zone at turn 10A. Monona goes slightly defensive, moves about a half car width offline, now moves back to the racing line for braking zone. He has his mirrors full. Here's a look on the rear bumper of the BMW. The M4 GT3, another one of the newer GT3 platforms, it shares its steering wheel with a product you can buy from Fanatec, which I think is crazy. Basically take the steering wheel right off the race car and put it right onto the Fanatec base. But O'Connor doesn't have that. He just has the 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8 all the way back from the SLS on over a decade ago in GT3 competition. Whereas the GT4 Mercedes runs the contemporary bi-turbo V8 that you can get in the road car. Joshua Tellez loses a spot to Veschi, and let's see what happened between those two. Back. Watch, here's Tellez down the hill, and this is probably one of those scenarios we were talking about where got one corner wrong and it cost him in a few. Veschi had closed that gap right here. He run wide. Just got slow. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. I thought he might have made a mistake, but was overslowed perhaps for 5, and that let Veschi machine the 48 right back on through. So give 5th place rather to Veschi in the number 48. And for third place, O'Connor is all over Monona and now down to just 6.5 minutes to go. 5 laps worth of racing. And 6/10 between the two leaders as well. Let's not discount that competition. That battle might be heating up before this is over. It's down almost to under half a second as Clampett tries to run from Olsen, who was 2.5 tenths quicker last time by. So there's that battle and third. So first, third, and back to 5th place. Veschi has started to run from Tellez, but the gap is only half a second. I'm sure he'd like more than that just to feel comfortable and confident that he can stay there without a late move on the final couple of laps. O'Connor did not get the best run off the corner, but no matter. The slipstream will close this gap once again. BMW, Monona's been really good in the tail end of Sector 3 and the first part of Sector 1. This battle remains. Veschi feeling pressure once again from Tellez in the 24. This one's not over yet. Run through 10B though for the 48. While for third place, Monona really feeling the pressure now from O'Connor. Close enough now that if Monona slips, O'Connor's there. Lead battle back up to a second. 5 minutes to go here from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta in the Sim Racing Chicago special event. Very close, and back for 5th place. Tellez all over the back of Veschi in the Ferrari. Now you use the Ferrari for what it's wrong at. Maybe jumping curbs isn't. Veschi using all the road. And here comes O'Connor for third. He's got slipstream. If he drafts up behind this 3, he'll have a look down into 10A. Mercedes-AMG doesn't have the legs on the straightaway. He's going to have to rely on the draft. Here he comes for third place. The battle is on. Gloves are off. Here we go. O'Connor to the right. Monona later on the brakes. O'Connor tried to cross him over, couldn't do it. Nose to tail, BMW versus Mercedes, 4 minutes to go for a spot on the podium. Defensive line here for Monona. He's feeling that pressure, brakes early. Can O'Connor go the long way around at turn 1? Not quite, tucks in. And lap traffic potentially. That is 64, I believe, with Charlie Giunta. This is not in a good spot for Monona, but Giunta's got to keep pace and momentum going to not hold up this lead lap traffic. On corner exit, Monona's going to get back on throttle. Didn't hold him up too much. He'll look to the left. Veschi's put some distance on Tellez. That battle has fizzled. So has the one for the lead. But for third, the flame is burning hot as ever. The 95 throttles up in the Mercedes-AMG right behind Monona. But again, BMW just gets off the corner so well. 150 miles an hour plus. We'll might see 160 by the end of the back straight. 157, 158, 162 for O'Connor as he tries to overtake Monona on the right, but he can't do it again. This is the challenge here at Road Atlanta, is that last chicane. Drivers right or drivers left. You can make the pass either way, but you can also defend on either side. It's not a cut and dry, always go down the inside maneuver there. If you can get to the right for turn 10B, that might be the move that'll win you the race. Here comes O'Connor up the outside again, trying that long way around, but that's tough, and right out to the rumble strip at the exit of 1. Using every inch of the road, try to get by Monona here, fair and clean, but he's running out of time. 2.5 minutes remain. And running out of arrows in the quiver. Oh, right out to the gravel. O'Connor's pushing. Through turn 6 and 7. It's all about squaring this corner up. Getting back on throttle earlier. O'Connor chucked it down there, but you see the gap reopen on the straightaway because Monona is able to get back to throttle that much sooner. Leaders will get 2 laps to go this time through 1.3 seconds. between them. We'll see Clampett come over the crest. I think they've already gone through, actually. They have. Battle for third comes into next time by, expecting the white flag. Look at O'Connor just charge turn 3, jump the curb on the right. He's got pace, he's got speed, but he has not been able to shake 3 car. Dave Monona has just been executing and hasn't made a mistake in the presence of O'Connor. That's been critical so far. That remains 2.5 tenths. It's close enough, exciting. Out front, though, here's your leader, Logan Clampett in the 44 Ferrari. Nate Olson in the 32 Mercedes-AMG. 50 seconds to go. That means next time by, we'll see that white flag from the flag stand. Signifies 2.5 miles remaining in first race. Ryan O'Connor closing on Monona. He's feeling the pressure again. He moves left. O'Connor goes to the right, brakes late, but can't get the overlap on the outside. He tucks in, moves to the left, moves to the right, throttles up here, get through the gears. Coming to the white flag, 1 lap to go from the Sim Racing Chicago special event at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. There's the flag. Monona has the advantage for now, but by how much? For how long? To turn 1, that Mercedes is just flanking that BMW. Every move he makes, he is following. But one more run down the back straightaway for O'Connor to make the overtake. In the rearview mirror, down the S's one final time. A 6-story drop from top to bottom into turn 5. O'Connor is going to be close enough to have a lunge into turn 10, but it'll be his final opportunity. If he can get and keep overlap at 10, I think he's got it, but here comes that run. All the while, out front, Clampett leads, but this is the battle we're watching. Monona in third by just 93 thousandths of a second. Here comes the 95 with a big run. Looks to the right. Here's that battle we were waiting for. Braking zone duel. BMW versus Mercedes. Monona clears him. Checkered flag for Clampett and Olson, first and second. But for third place, Dave Monona outlasts O'Connor. He's going to hang on and finish on the podium here. Third place for the number 3 of Dave Monona. O'Connor fourth, and Daniel Vesci in the number 48 is going to come home in 5th place over Joshua Tellez. That battle decided a couple of laps ago. Tellez in that Mercedes. There he is. 6th place. Peter Kutstra. 79 comes down over the crest and back home. 7th place for the number 79 Porsche 911 GT R992. And here's Byron Hayes, flames spitting out the tailpipes of that McLaren E412C, one of the oldest GT cars, actually the oldest GT3 car in iRacing. Much simpler aerodynamics. Byron Hayes, 8th place, and a no finish, a D and F for Charlie Jean in number 6. What a race. Clampett and Olson, your winners, your top 2 in this one. And we've got way more action coming up your way. Drivers have already begun their practice to set the grids for the next 2 races that will be all in-person events. Make sure you stay tuned in for that. We're going to step away for a couple of minutes' time. Back with the next race here in about, let's see what's next on our schedule here. Sign off a little bit. So it looks like 11:45, about 55 minutes from now is our next race. So stay tuned, grab a drink, grab a snack. We'll be back for 11:45 Central for the group race. A 20-minute race with drivers in person here. A race will be an hour after that at 12:45. And about 1:45 is when we'll wrap things up here from Sim Racing Chicago. I'm Kyle Heyer. We'll be back with you in just a little while, 11:45 Central Time for the next race here from Sim Racing Chicago. The mission for speed has no side quests, but it will have its heroes. Today's battle is one of the best of the best, whittled down from 30 competitors across the country. Today we race at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta in iRacing. And most at Sim Racing Chicago, a top-tier sim racing lounge located in Algonquin, Illinois. But while we will compete in the iRacing simulator, today's event is no game. Cash prizes lie waiting for those at the top of the order who conquer this motorsport kingdom. Welcome to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, Georgia red soil beside the racetrack today for two 20-minute races. Race Group A and Race Group B, with 10 drivers in each, all on location live from Sim Racing Chicago. Welcome back again. I'm Kyle Heyer, joining you from Sim Racing Chicago. Here's a look at this gorgeous sim racing facility just outside of the city of Chicago. Sim rigs set up, full motion rigs with some of the best gear equipment can buy. All these drivers here today on location, ready to go racing for cash prizes, and qualifying begins now. And we'll be qualifying here in just a couple minutes' time, but we do have to change out some server information, so just bear with us here for a couple of minutes, but we'll get rolling in just a few. Again, I'm Kyle Heyer, joining you live from Sim Racing Chicago, and let's talk a little bit about Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. This racetrack is fast, it's curious. Let's have a look down on the actual track map and get a pretty good sense of what this track is like to drive. Here's a look at it from high above, 2.54 miles and 12 turns, all with crazy elevation change. The start line on the right-hand side of your screen coming at the camera before you climb up. Fourth gear, turn number 1. You're fast and climbing all the way to a left-hand kick at turn 2, and then turn 3, right hand over a blind crest, down through turn 4, weaving from left to right, and into turn number 5. That's a very critical corner to exit, have a run down to turn 6 and 7. When you leave turn number 7, you'll be accelerating up the long back straightaway, one of the longest in North American racing, and then braking hard for 10A and 10B at the bottom of the hill, replacing the old gravity cavity that was constructed back in 1997. Then up another hill into turn number 11, back down an extreme drop in elevation from 11 to 12. That will complete one lap here at Michelin Raceway Road. Never seen Sim Racing Chicago before, you should check it out in Algonquin, Illinois. You can rent it out with your friends and split the cost amongst a whole group of people and race together. It really is an awesome facility run by some excellent people, and all the rigs are set up very, very nicely. Correctly set field of view, which is something that a lot of people don't get right, which drives me crazy. So I'm really glad that we've got nice rigs set up for everyone to enjoy here today. Participants joined us here on location. On location here at Sim Racing Chicago, and again, just about an hour northwest of the city of Chicago. Play host to cash prize races today. This first race is a group of 10 that are the faster of the two groups of drivers, and the lower drivers will run right after, all for prizing though, so keep that in mind as drivers battle here at Road Atlanta. We're going to step away for just a couple minutes, but qualifying coming up here in just a few moments. Welcome back to Sim Racing Chicago. Qualifying about to get underway for the first of our 2 in-person races here on location at the Sim Racing Chicago facility, Algonquin, Illinois. Welcome back. I'm Kyle Heyer, joining you for today's events. 10 drivers up first, followed by another 10 that will compete for cash prizes here on location at Sim Racing Chicago. A dozen really well set up simulators here, all with unique equipment so you can test out which gear you like. You can jump on the full motion rigs, experience Sim Racing Chicago in person yourself. You check out their website to learn how you can join and be a part of events like this in the future. Qualifying is coming up here in just a moment's time. We'll head down to the racetrack and show you who is all involved. We've got a handful of drivers that will be competing against each other for cash prizes like we mentioned earlier. We'll head down to the racetrack and show you as they qualify. Track is clearing and we're getting set to go racing once again. Some quick facts here on Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, located in Braselton, Georgia. Population 9,000 people. Track was built back in 1970 with the addition of the chicane in 1997. It reached its final form. Of course, that area at the end of the back straightaway used to be home to an area of the racetrack called the Gravity Cavity, a huge multi-story drop that was just fast left-hand, right-hand chicane that was much, much quicker than the current one. Then it ran up through turn 11 and what is now turn 12 that you're seeing right here on your screen. So cars are getting out on the racetrack to go for their qualifications. On the left-hand side of your screen. Drivers that you'd expect to see here as they make their way around. So in sim number 12 on your screen at the moment, that is Dimitri Pisios on rig number 12 here at Sim Racing Chicago. There's a look at his BMW, and then we'll step through the rest of the field. And sim number 1 will be Kamil Witowski in the number 1 rig. Car number 4 and sim number 4, Anthony Stella behind the wheel of this gorgeous Porsche 911 R. Not quite loaded in on that one yet. We'll give it a moment. In the number 5 machine, it is Thomas Martinez behind the wheel. He climbs up at his BMW. Sim number 2, BJ Alvarez in his Porsche 911 GT3R. Of course, following that is Aris Pabadinskis in the number 6. Rig 9 is Elvis Rusins behind the wheel. Then Tyler Purdy in rig number 10. Rig 3 will be Alex Scribney, and then sim number 8 driven by Nelson. There he is in car number 8. So all about qualifying right now, putting the best lap you can in the books before this 15 minutes elapses. It will set our starting lineup for our first race coming up here in a couple minutes time. Waiting for some liveries properly load in here. Petrie had a nice one in particular. Give it a moment to update. No times yet on the board. Goes working way down into turn 10A and be a really fast left-right-hand combination, but it's fast, but it's one of the slower corners on the racetrack. PCO's a little bit wide there at turn number 11. Now dives down through turn number 12 and across the stripe. We'll see, will it be a lap time in the books? A 1:27.46. It will, yes, it will count. He'll go to the top of the time for the time being. As second car across the line is car number 5. That is Thomas Martinez behind the wheel. Rig 1, Kamil Witowski behind the wheel. And to the top, it's sim number 6. That's Aris Pabadinskis in that car. Look from high above here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, one of the premier road racing facilities here in North America. It is one of the fastest, one of the most fierce racetracks on any calendar. And Bill Pabadinskis at the top of the board in car number 6. Looks like Elvis Rusins goes second quick at a 1:20.001. That would drop him into second place. Sim 3 is Ribney behind the wheel. There he is in his Porsche 911 R. DJ Alvarez in the number 2 Porsche. Goes in that BMW. It's knocked down to 6th, but now jumps up to 3rd on that flying lap. That was a really strong run there for PCOS, up into what was row number 2. But he will get bumped, just bump back to the outside of row 2 now. We continue to make our way through qualifying. Up over the crest, here comes number 8 of Nelson, and across the stripe he will go. Stella at the top of the board right now in rig number 4. A 1:19.407. That's a pretty respectable lap time, all things considered. The last rig to not yet make a time is Tyler Purdy in rig number 10. There he is in a Porsche 911 GT3 992. This is the newer generation car, signified by that taillight bar rather than inked taillights. That just leaves 9 minutes left to lay down their best time. How about another improvement for Bella that time, but it did not count. Off-track excursion there, but he was in 18th that time. Mike Martinez picks up a little bit in number 5 BMW. Down through. Yes, is now on the way to turn number 5. What a fast corner this is. Curbs on both sides. You have to thread the needle. Now heading down the backstretch towards turn number 6. A pretty critical corner complex if you want to set up for your best passing opportunity. Comes at turn 10, but that run starts here at turn number 7. You have to get this right, get back on throttle sooner, friends, and out-drag them down the backstretch. It is getting close at the top of the board. Stella still the quickest. Wojciechowski in the Lamborghini, currently second fastest by 8 thousandths of a second. That's how close it is. Sim Racing Chicago livery on the side of this car in the Lamborghini. 1:19.415 to a 1:19.407. That's how close it is at the top. And just 18 thousandths behind that is Harris Papadinski in this number 6 BMW. There it is with the colors on the car that we were expecting to see. And that, well, Ghost's livery isn't still quite loaded just yet. And now Sim 10 looks like Tyler Purdy still has yet to put in legal lap time, and will slow there at turn 3. Didn't get up on the curbing, but accelerates that inline 6 Porsche motor down through turn 5. Rumble strips on both sides of the road. You have to attack this racetrack to make speed here. It will wear you out to go fast around Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. It is just an exhausting lap. Everything happens quick. You get a moment to breathe on the back straightaway, but especially when you've got traffic to contend with, exhausting moment. Here comes Stella in the Porsche 992 with a big slipstream off the car ahead of him. 1 second to the good on his lap. Isn't going to count, though, with the traffic in the way. I think that PCOS ahead of him. With the rumble strips on the left-hand side of the road, and then down through 12. See what Stella can do this time. Is it a pickup? A 1:18.913. Yeah, no, it's an 8.97, but that will be provisional pole for now. A 1:18.897. Like Kamil Kowski, not quite up on his lap. A couple other drivers trading spots, though. PCOS went quicker, and so did Tyler Purdy, up to 5th place in the number 10 Porsche. That was a really solid lap. Everybody within 1.2 seconds. A really close qualifying order here so far as we watch Purdy slam over the curbs at the top of the hill. Just hundredths between Papadinskis in the number 6 car and 12 of PCOS. It is really close at the top of the order. One car's up on their lap time. It's BJ Alvarez in rig number 2. They contends with the guesses here again. Mentioned in the online-only race earlier, if you get one corner wrong here, it messes up your entire run through this sector. It's absolutely critical that you nail it, or at least get ahead of the steering. If you get behind, it will slow you down seconds, not completely throw away your lap. Alvarez into turn 7, just missing the apex there, but keeps it on course, just barely. Witkowski on the mission right now. 6/10 down from Stella on top of the board, but 6/10 up on his best lap. Can he bring this Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo to the top of the board? 7/10 to the good now as he rockets that naturally aspirated V10 down the back straightaway. Braking zone for Camille as now 10A, 10B. Got to navigate this. There's a ton of curbing, but kept the momentum up. He's 8/10 to the good on his best lap. This will be for pole if he can nail it and land it across the stripe. 1:19.377. It is not good enough for pole. It will land him second place by 4.5 of a second. We'll keep our eye on to see if he can go even faster than that, but so far, so good. Qualifying effort, still on the front row, just has to knock down Anthony Stella in that number 4 Porsche, who continues to flirt with improving his own lap in number 4. Across the stripe for Stella. That's not a pickup either, a 1:19. Kowski. 4/10 up. Could do it as well. We'll have to keep an eye on him. And like Stu Nelson is also on a personal best in this number 8 Porsche 911 GT3R. We haven't really talked a lot about Nelson so far. Breaks into 10A. Up half a second. We'll see if it's good enough to advance ahead of Elvis Rusens and BJ Alvarez. Here comes Nelson across the stripe, and a 1:28.1. It is not good enough to pick up. Kowski stays second place. Dmitry Pisios, number 12, rockets down the back stretch. Looks like he might be up green on this particular lap. Over the hill and down the other side. And, well, will it be a pickup? It looks like it could be. It is a 1:19.7, but, well, not a pickup on his best. It was just up on his pre. Number 4. Nelson. Green. Love the onboard look here. Over the right shoulder in this Porsche 911 GT-R 992. Whole new car. Really more than just an iteration, more than just an Evo kit on this car. All new electronics, aero package. And through turn number 12, 1:20.006. It does improve fast, but it's not good enough to move him up any position. Still on top is Anthony Stella in the number 4 machine by 4.5 of a second over Witkowski, Abadinskis, Pisios, and Purdy. Under 2 minutes to go here in qualifying. Stella, no pickup that time. Witkowski still hunting for speed, hunting for grip. At turn 6, oh, big rotation. Jumps up on the curbing. Wide out of 7. It's going to hurt his run down the back straightaway in the run to 10A. not a whole lot better than naturally aspirated V10 sound. Braking zone into 10A, 10B. And across the stripe. Pick up for Witkowski. Anthony Stella still holds strong. Just 30 seconds left here in qualifying. Can anybody dethrone car number 4? Here's Purdy up in 5th place. Didn't get a lap. A couple laps behind everybody else. He's run 8 laps in comparison to 11 for the provisional pole sitter. Now through NB up onto the Fox Factory Bridge. Trying to find just 900ths of a second. We'll move them up a position. And not quick. Stay P5 for now. Qualifying, checkered flag, and drivers will be allowed to complete the lap that they are on, which is several drivers. Like most have pulled back into pit lane. But it's Anthony Stella still on top. Witkowski, second place. Papadinskis, Pisios, Purdy. Then Scribney, Rusens, Martinez, Alvarez, and Nelson were top runners at the moment. So checkered flag here for qualifying, and in just a moment's time, we're going to go racing here from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Welcome back again. Sim Racing Chicago. You look at cars around the racetrack. There is a look at Sim Racing Chicago facility, a premier sim racing lounge just about an hour outside of Chicago that you can rent with your friends and come hang out and participate in events just like this. Give it a look on the internet, Sim Racing Chicago. Here's a look at the course on which we will do battle today. 2.54 mile Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. This track is an excellent racetrack, one of the few I've been to in the southeast United States. 2.54 miles here on the full course. All starts with a run down the front stretch into turn number 1, 4th gear right hand. That will take you up over a crest, a blind crest that you have to turn in for at turn number 3. Then it's a run down through the S's at turn 4, kind of a reverse Watkins Glen, but much, much narrower. Then 5, quick left kink that you'll have to jump the curbs to make full speed. 6 and 7, absolutely critical to make a good lap time around here before the long run with a slipstream up to 10, where your best passing opportunity is here at Road Atlanta. Well, cars are gridding and getting set to go racing for cash prizes today. Up on pole, car number Anthony Stella behind the wheel. Behind there, look at next group of cars. Pace lap begins here for Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Everybody getting set to do battle at Road Atlanta in the state of Georgia here virtually in iRacing. Your starting lineup is as follows. On the front row, it's sim number 4. That's driven by Anthony Stella right alongside Kamil Witkowski in the Lamborghini Huracan G3. Row 2 is car number 6. That's Karas Papadinskis alongside Dmitry Pisios in number 12. Row 3 is Tyler Purdy. He'll start alongside rig number 3, driven by Alex Scribney. Row 4 is number 9 car, Elvis Rusens, alongside the number 5 of Thomas Martinez. The final and 5th row, BJ Alvarez and Nelson. Drivers getting one last look at Road Atlanta before taking it on in anger. Several $100 in cash prizes on the agenda for everybody here. Watch the 6. Iris Papadinskis warming up those tires to be set for the race on this formation lap. The online-only race earlier was really competitive, with a handful of drivers being battled for most of the 20-minute race. This will be a 16-lap event. Vehicle manufacturer representation from Porsche, Lamborghini, BMW. I think anyone is elected to the Mercedes-AMG or the McLaren. A little bit less car diversity than there was. A lot of flat 6s, Porsche representation throughout most of the field. Only one of the V10 Lamborghinis. Witkowski has that car on the outside of the front. Well, it's a game of numbers here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. 10 drivers, 20 minutes, 16 laps. Hundreds of dollars on the line. Who's got it all? Who will win here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta? Pace car pulls off, and it's car number 4, Anthony Stella, that will take us to the green flag. Here we go. 20 minutes on the board. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Road Atlanta. A good, clean getaway. We're 3 wide on the run to turn number 1, but just the Porsche back out a little bit. Around the outside, Kamil Witkowski tries to take the lead away in the Lamborghini. Here he comes. He's clear of the Porsche. And Witkowski takes the top spot as we bounce over the curb here at turn number 3. Pisios being flanked on both sides. He's lost a position now. Actually, cycles his way back into 4th place, rather. It is Tyler Purdy in the Porsche that had him side by side but had to bail. Pisios wide at 5. Here comes Purdy now, driver's left on the run to turn 6. Will have to go the long way around if he wants it. He will take it away. Meanwhile, behind them, very tight between Stu Nelson and De Alvarez. They've sorted it out. Now the run up to turn 10. Looks like Pisios lost another spot now to Elvis Rusin, so he will drop in behind. All the while, Witkowski with an aggressive start took the lead away and now sprints from Anthony Stella in car number 4. Big braking zone here for the mid-engine Lamborghini. The Porsche up the inside. Huge lunge from Stella. He takes the lead away. What a move. All behind, Haris Papadinskis watches out the windshield as those front 2 try to drive away. That was a big lunge from Stella, but he was able to make it stick. And here comes Witkowski again, has a look up the inside at turn 1, but not able to commit this time. Right on board with the V10 Lamborghini. Down the S's here at Road Atlanta. Several hundred feet of elevation over the course of a lap. Most of it's done right here. Everyone's still pointed the right direction after lap number 1. That's good news. 18 to go. And now Witkowski falling into the clutches of Haris Papadinskis, but out front, Stella putting some distance, now 0.8 of a second on that number 1 car. Four-car breakaway at the front of the field, all the way back to Tyler Purdy in Porsche. Strong start for him, and Dimitri Pisios has a look here at Elvis Rusins down the inside here at turn 10, a little bit later on the brakes. Plenty of space, but wasn't able to complete that pass. He's going to try and get on corner exit. Here comes Pisios up the inside at turn number 11. That's tough. Doesn't have the overlap to make it stick this time. Ooh, a little bit wide. It gets on the grass. Big slide through turn 1. Through comes Stu Nelson, and that was car number 5. That was Thomas Martinez that also took a spot away. And there goes Pisios off at turn number. Got a little bit wide on the rumbles, or on the grass at the exit of the first corner. On the entry, rather, and lost the rear end. Goes in. Tyler Purdy running down Papadinskis here for a podium spot. Oh, gets up on the rumble strip too much. Wobbles the Porsche, and the BMW drives away. It's 1.1 seconds now between Stella and Witkowski. And Papadinskis and Purdy, rest of your top four. But that's how much gap you lose by messing up a critical turn at turn number 7. You have to nail that corner, carry speed down that extremely long back straightaway. There's your leader, there's second. Witkowski may be feeling some pressure from Papadinskis. It's only 4/10 between him and that W, the number 6 car. How aggressive do drivers get at turn 3? Witkowski's a little wide. Here comes Papadinskis in the number 6. Look to the left. Not really anywhere to go here in the S's. You kind of have to stay single file, but he's going to be all over the Lamborghini on corner exit. Jumps the curb on the left, but too much. Purdy not close enough to fully take advantage. Inside at 7. Witkowski. Oh, Papadinskis is wide. Here comes the 10 to Purdy. Now looks to the right. Takes advantage of that mistake. There's one corner you got to nail. It's 7. Is Papadinskis done? Got up through the gears really nicely. Now has the slipstream and the power provided by BMW. Looks to the left. Purdy does not defend. He's going to stay on the right. Braking battle into 10A. And for now, Papadinskis will win that fight. Cross it over to the Porsche on exit. Look at the run. Side by side through turn 12. Yes. And all behind, it looks like Alex Scribny is going to get a great look at this. He looks to the inside of the number 10, up the inside for 4th place, and he will take a spot away. Move. Scribny up 4th, but here comes the 10. Back on driver's right into turn 3. Now tucks back in. All dragging in Stu Nelson in the number 9 of Elvis Rusins, who's looking on, waiting to launch an attack on this group of scrapping Porsches. Oh, a little wide there for the 3 car, and Scribny gives the spot back. Purdy. And side by side, the 9 muscles his way by. A little contact there from Rusins, and they both spin. Drama here between these two, and gets slammed. More trouble as they try to get turned back around. Go back and have a look here at what happened. This was on the run to turn number 7. I think Rusins is going to get to the inside here. It gets kind of turned in on. Rusins then runs him off course. And Scribny drives in there, just turns him around. So for those two disagreed on that, but they'll get back rolling. Now they'll both lose a lot of track position. All the while out front, Anthony Stella has set sail. 2.7 seconds back to Witkowski, who's got a solid 2nd place run in the works right now. Number 6 of Haris Papadinskis runs in 3rd. Last time by was about 1/10 of a second quicker than Witkowski, but he's got Purdy in the number 10, not too far behind in the Porsche 911 GT3 R992. Turn 7, and a little bit of understeer there in the Porsche. Be one of the trends of this car is it doesn't have as much weight over the front tires as one of the front engine cars does, like the BMWs. Trend to understeer. Whenever you're not on power, you have to really use the throttle to rotate it. Some battles have fizzled. Some might re-engage, the 9 and the 3. And Scribny, they're still only about 7/10 of a second separated, and scores to settle between them. Oh, big slide there. And Scribny goes for a spin. Look at it, just balance, weight shift a little wrong and cost him a spot. Drop behind De Alvarez. We haven't really talked a whole lot about our number 2. Rocket down the yeses. Brute finishing this race almost halfway there, and the battle for third is the hottest one right now between Purdy, Tyler Purdy in the number 10 Porsche, and the number 6 Eris Papadinskis. That's the closest fight. Now, draft and slipstream coming into effect. Tyler Purdy. Over the crest here and down through turn number 12. Battle is on. Can Papadinskis hang on? Brake lights illuminating here at turn 3. Papadinskis feeling the pressure. All the while, Alvarez and Scribny going at it here for 8th place. Great fight between these two. They were side by side for a moment. Alvarez, for now, will spot. Which battle is more volatile? Is it for 3rd or is it for 8th? Purdy gets a nice line through 7. If he stays off the dirt, going to have a really good run here. That flat 6 screaming under the rear engine cover of that Porsche, but look at the run the BMW gets up in boost. It just scoots, but now the Porsche reeling him back in the slipstream here. Looks out to the left. Late lunge on the brakes to the inside. Here comes Purdy alongside Papadinskis. Now crosses him over. What a move to the inside and climbs up the hill into 11 and takes 3rd place away. That was a great pass there from Purdy. Let us have another look at that. That was well executed. That crossover, watch here, to the inside, can't get it done. Switch back, over, under, and throttles up. That pass, that was really well executed there for our number 10. Go back to battling. Not sure that he's safe though yet. We've seen so much pace out of that number 6. And back for 8th place, side by side through 12. That's going to end in tears. And Alvarez gets turned off the nose of our number 3, Alex Scribny. Let's have another look at that. It looks like it's the number 3, that was Scribny, that comes down through 12. And right there, they get together, and around goes Alvarez and walks into the outside wall, then bam, into the inside. Turn back around, but it's going to time on the. Alvarez drops back down, and the number 3. First, 3rd place. Battle's back on. That's Papadinskis trying to run Purdy back down. Here's a look on board the number 6. Through the S's once more. 7 minutes to go in this race. The top 3 hasn't changed since the 10 got by, but this is for podium, for those cash prizes. The 10 made his pass. Now he focuses up on running down Kamil Witowski, 2nd place. Oh, for 3rd place. Papadinskis takes a swipe at the number 10 swiper. No swiping. It's back in line. He'll have to try that one again. All the while, out front, Anthony Stella has not looked back since the drop of the green flag. He remains the leader and still some of the fastest laps on the racetrack we have seen. Put down by this number 4, but here comes a battle for 3rd. Big lunge from Papadinskis, and contact now. The Porsche and BMW side by side up through turn number 11. Purdy trying to cling to it. Papadinskis on the assault here. Gonna look to the right. 6 minutes to go for third place. Podium battle underway. Oh, the Porsche's out right to the edge of the rumble strip. I cannot believe he kept it on track. Here's Papadinskis, takes a look at him into 3, but can't complete it. He will drop and stay position number 4 right now. But between Purdy and Papadinskis, some excellent, fair, clean racing for now. We'll see if that lasts the final 6 minutes of this competition. Just allowing Witkowski and Stella to just put some more distance on him. This battle is not over. Well in the draft distance and with the BMW power, I'd expect Papadinskis to have at least close this gap down to nothing by the time they get to the chicane. Down through turn 12. About 5 minutes to go here in the Sim Racing Chicago special event. A little bit of a battle also formulating down the order just slightly. That between the number 5 of Thomas Martinez and the number 8 of Stu Nelson. Our eyes on those drivers. Nelson closed the gap that time. .7 seconds between the top 2 drivers. 2.3 between Purdy and Witkowski, but just 1.2 between Purdy and Papadinskis. While that battle has fizzled for the moment, there's under 4 minutes remaining here. Comes Stu Nelson, closing the distance to Thomas Martinez in that number 5 BMW. Another Porsche versus BMW fight, rear engine versus front engine. Very different racing machines, very different strategies on how to go fast. You have to drive them very differently. Stu Nelson, though, on a mission. Oh, big slide for Nelson at turn 1, and he goes off. Just tried to get a little too much out of it and went around for at least a half spin. Here's another look at it from outside the car. Just kind of tossed it in there a little bit too fast and over-rotated. And because the engine of this car is in the rear, it's like a pendulum. It just swings out. And a really nice job gathering the car back up and didn't loop it completely, but did lose his closing gain on Martinez for 5th place. Stella out front will get 3 laps to go this time. Under 3 minutes remain. Porsche down the hill here. 2 minutes 40 seconds will be about 3 laps worth of action as Papadinskis tries to reel in Tyler Purdy in the number 10. He's doing everything in his power, but that time through he was just a little bit slower. So still not gaining the way that he needed to gain. Big slide there for Purdy, though. Nice run through 5, a rhythmic section here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Purdy has done an excellent job in this race. Started back in 5th place. He's +2. Papadinskis is down 1, but front drivers, we see Stella started up on pole. Witkowski started in 2nd, but give Martinez a shout out here. 8th to 5th. fell as low as 9th early in the going, and Stu Nelson from 10th up to 6th. So a nice climb for him. Of course, Rusens starting where he is running, so he stays 7 for now. So this is going to be close. Is this going to be white flag? It might be. Yes, it will be. This time through, white flag, 1 lap to go for Anthony Stella in the Porsche 911 GT3R. Witkowski just 4 seconds back. He's been quicker the last couple of laps, but it's not a pace competition. It is a position competition. And trying to defend so he doesn't have to pay out prizes at the end of the day, but he'll take away one of those podium-paying positions. But Stella has a 3.8 advantage, and it has not dwindled much. Porsche is already gone. There's the Lamborghini that runs second. There's the third-place car of Tyler Purdy. Then the 6 of Harris Papadinskis. They fought tooth and nail for the podium position for a little bit. Oh, the Papadinskis car is off at 6. Gathers it back up, but he'll drop a couple more tenths of a second. If he had any shot, Purdy, it is gone now. Anthony Stella in rig number 4 here at Sim Racing Chicago, looking for cash prizes, looking for payday here at Sim Racing Chicago. Through the last couple of corners, he is home free. Anthony Stella comes over turn number 12 at Road Atlanta. And the peaches and sweet tea are still not quite as sweet as his win here today in virtual Georgia. Road Atlanta goes to Stella in the number 4. Witkowski second, Purdy third, Papadinskis in 4th. And looks like Thomas Martinez come home in 5th. How about Nelson and Rusin, 6th and 7th, just half a second between them. They'll come home in 6th and 7th. And the last driver running on the racetrack is Alex Scribney, Sim number 3. But well done, Anthony Stella gets it done. Nice job celebrating here. There's a look at the celebrations happening over at Sim number 4 by 3.6 seconds over Camille. And a really good start by the Lamborghini. Put him in position to run away, but wasn't able to. Stella just repassed him with a big lunge at 10. Was able to complete the pass. Well, race 1 of 2 is complete. We've still got the B race coming up here in just a couple minutes' time, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few moments with race number 2 with the B group coming up here from Sim Racing Chicago. Anthony Stella wins in rig number 4. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Back live from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Welcome back to Sim Racing Chicago for our final race of the afternoon. I'm Kyle Heyer, and we're going to get set to go running here in just a moment's time for our final event of the day. And we will be racing 10 drivers, all for prizes here this afternoon. They're just about getting set with qualifying here in just a moment. So, drivers will begin to lay down their times now as qualifying is underway. And here come some of the drivers on track right now. A couple of different makes and models represented in this one. And it'll look going down through the order. Christian Zwerk in the number 3 in a Ferrari 296. Both livery on that car looks the part, that's for sure. In it's going to be car number 1. That is going to be Ramiro Trejo behind the wheel. Another Ferrari. And Mike Malashevsky in the number 6. That's a Porsche 911 GT3 R992. Already talked about Christian Zwerk. And then, rig number 9, Patrick Kowalkowski. Behind the wheel, sim number 12 is Greg Overchuk, the BMW. Sim 2 is going to be Sam Robbins behind the wheel. And then, like Wojtek Kuras behind the wheel of the number 8 Porsche 911. And in rig number 5, it's Igor Karaton behind the wheel as qualifying is underway. Mike Malashevsky at the top of the board for the time being. And the 120-396. Arthur Pitka behind the wheel of Pars livery Porsche 911. What a livery on this car. That is horrifying to look at. But 4 times on the board so far with 11 minutes remaining here in this qualifying session. Garasin, 8th rig here at Sim Racing Chicago. Once again, we are on location at the Sim Racing Chicago facility in Algonquin, Illinois. If you have yet to check this place out, you should put it on your list to visit. Make sure you head to the website and reserve it with a group of friends. It is not really a better way to spend a weekend than with your friends here at Sim Racing Chicago. So make sure you check it out and join us here for future events, hopefully once every month or so. Top of the board, it's Trejo with a 120.12. Here comes Paras up to 4th place in this Patron livery Porsche 911 GT3 R992. A lot of Porsche representation. Malashevsky's also in one of these new Porsches, again, designated as the 992 generation, a new car from Porsche. It's got that solid rear taillight, but many electronics and aerodynamic upgrades to make this car better than the last Porsche 991 generation GT3 car. Greg Overchuk behind the wheel of the BMW M4, another new GT3 car to global competition, just debuted last season. While it doesn't really change the dimensionality of large BMWs that have been used in GT competition, it really does perform highly, especially on straightaways. This car, the real world, pretty quick on the straights, and that is represented here in the simulator as well. But drivers behind will be able to utilize that slip close in tighter. Overchuk that time, a 119.793 to the top of the board goes car number 12. That was an excellent drive there by Overchuk. That puts him in provisional pole by 3.5 tenths of a second. Right now, looks like Sam Robbins currently looking like one of the fastest cars on track at the moment, down through turn number 12. 120.2, that's a pickup in lap time, but it'll jump him up to 3rd place. Back, so 2nd row for Sam Robbins. Nice run over the turn 3 curbing. Looks like green gain for Igor Caraton in the Porsche. Right across the stripe at a 122.593. That'll jump him one spot over Arthur Peitka in this red Porsche. That is the Lightning McQueen livery 992 generation car. All the while, see if Ramiro Trejo has a response for provisional pole. The Ferrari 296 twin-turbo V6. Same engine that's under the rear engine cover of the Ferrari 499P hypercar running the World Endurance Championship. For Trejo, not quicker. He'll stay second for now. Like green in the numbers for Caraton. Up the back straightaway now, trying to close the gap to Patrick Kowalski, who's ahead of him by 1.2 seconds, but the green looks like more than that, so he could leapfrog a position or two. And again, this replaced the old gravity cavity in 1997. And over the crest here. Will it be a gain for Caraton? Igor behind the wheel and across the stripe at a 121.535. Does a pickup, but not enough to launch him forward in the running order for the time being. A couple drivers flirting with green. Christian Zwerk behind the wheel of the Gulf liveried Ferrari. There is just something about the Gulf colors on a race car that just make it work, especially so on this 296 GT. That pale blue with the red-orange stripe on the nose that around all the way to the rear. But this Ferrari, just such a huge advance in chassis technology. The entire front assembly comes off in 4 bolts. Maybe not totally in the vein of what GT2 was intended to be. It's a little bit more like a prototype in that way. Reminded me a lot of the Ford GT that you would see at World Endurance Championship and here IMSA WeatherTech Championship back when they ran the Le Mans cars. Not so much a GT as it was a prototype that with GT bodywork on it. 120.556, Burke's best lap time so far. Couple cars flirting with improvements. Trejo across the line. Might be beginning another flying lap, but didn't get a time recorded last time. There's Overchuk in the BMW, still on provisional pole with 6 minutes to go here in qualifying. Plenty of time for someone to take him off dethroned, but looks like he's cooling down to maybe go another improve. Down a couple gears, looks like he's warming up for a flying lap. Flow back straightaway, let the tires cool off before you go again. A little bit wide there at turn 11 to get that run front straightaway, but here we go. Overchuk, if he throws it into turn 1, 4th gear corner typically, yes, down to 3rd, little wobble, sideways, slide it into the wall for Overchuk. Big impact there at the exit of turn 1. Sam Robbins, like he might be advancing. Porsche across the stripe here, what's it gonna be for Robbins? A 128.1, no pickup. Patrick Kowalski. Rig number 9. That flat 6 screaming up over the crest. What a great sound that is. Porsches have always sounded the part. A 121.095, pickup in lap time. No pickup in position, though. Not close enough to Carras. Prove a position. For Trejo, down the back straightaway, his all blacked out 296. Oh, big cut there at 10A, but if it was not an off track, this will be a decent lap for him. That time through, a 119.839. Technically quicker, but he went off course at that lap, so it will cost him. Not a legal lap time. Here comes Robbins again. Looks like he's still in the green. how much the track flattens out there. It's huge compression right as you exit the corner. No pickup. And Patrick Olakowski down the backstretch in another Porsche 911. Right on board. Watch the braking zone here. Late, right on that third line. On the rumble strips. Here comes Kolakowski in the Porsche, and this time it is quicker, a 1:24.66. And that will jump him up to position number 5. So move Patrick Kolakowski up to the inside of row number 3. Christian Svert still running up the back straightaway. Looks like he could be in the green as well at a 1:24.67. He's 6th at the moment. Late braking in Ferrari. Mid-engine balance. He didn't get down to the right gear leaving the corner. That might have cost him a bit. Across the line, needs to get a 1:24.67, not quite. Comes Wojtek Karas, not faster either. Positions have been pretty constant the last few minutes, but just 2.5 minutes remain here in qualifying before our last race of the day. That will set us up for a 20-minute adventure that will wrap up our racing here today on the 17th of September. Twilight of summer here, the last few days before kick over to the autumn season. That's really when sim racing kicks off, is in the winter. Got nothing else better to do, and all your outside hobbies become inside hobbies. Sim racing and going to Sim Racing Chicago, got to be on your bucket list for the harsh Chicago winter. Overchuk, his magic lap put him on top, but not been able to match it since. Neither has anybody else. That's the critical factor here. Trejo across the stripe, 1:20.198. Will be his second to last flying lap. Looks like a little bit of a pickup for Wojtek Karas down the hill. Is it going to be better than a 1:28.48? It is not. A 1:21.005. Lost it in the last moments. Mike Malashevsky, number 6. Rig here at the Sim Racing Chicago facility. The last moments of qualifying. 5 seconds remain. Can anybody go quicker? Overchuk still at a 1:19.793. And a pickup for Christian Svert. That is a quicker time, but he will stay P5. 1:20.409. Anybody have anything as the clock runs out? Looks like Malashevsky working his way through turn number 7. Here comes Overchuk, though, through 10A, 10B. Looks like he could be in the green. He might be able to pad his advantage. Down through the last corner. Here go. Yes, that one was faster. Overchuk, 1:19.697, remains on pole. Only one driver can take him off. That's Malashevsky in the number 6 Porsche. Here we go. Malashevsky across the stripe. Is it a pickup? It is not. 1:20.964 He will stay position number 4. Well, qualifying is complete here from Sim Racing Chicago. Again, on location at the Sim Racing Chicago facility. There's a couple of the sites here at SRC. And rigs all set up with full motion and some of the best hardware that money can buy. And you can visit the Sim Racing Chicago website to check it out for yourself and also reserve a time to bring a group of friends. Give it a go and potentially invited to join. Well, this is the last race of the day, and again, it will be 20 minutes, and it will be on top Greg Overchuk that will lead us to the green. Outside will be car number Trejo behind the wheel. So with qualifying done, we'll head down to the racetrack here in just a moment's time. Again, I'm Kyle Heyer as we get set to go racing. 20 minutes on the board, 1 pace lap to warm up tires, warm up brakes, and get yourself prepped to battle in this castle of motorsport, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. 2.54 miles. Here's a look at it before we go down to the racetrack. Here's a look at what it looks like from high above. And map of the track on all the ups and downs that come with it. 2.5 miles. It all starts with a run up to turn number 1. You'll be in 5th gear on the front straight. You'll be down in 4th gear by the time you hit turn number 1. And then it'll be a climb up to turns 2 and 3. Down to 3rd gear for turn number 3. Maybe 2nd if your gearing's a little taller. And then you'll head down the S's. Try to stay full throttle and just thread your way through the tight confines of the S's. Turn 5, accelerate through. Set up for turn number 7. That will take you down the long back straightaway here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta and get you set for the best passing opportunity down at turn number 2. Then up over 11, up over 12. That is a lap here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. All the cars are on the grid. We're just waiting for the safety car to take us around for 1 formation lap. And we'll turn them loose. 20 minutes. And starting lineup for this race, up on the pole position is Greg Overchuk in the number 12 car. Alongside him, the number 1 will be Ramiro Trejo. It will start on the outside of that front row. Row number 2, it's going to be rig 2, Sam Robbins behind the wheel. Alongside rig number 6, Mike Malachevsky. In row number 3, it's car number 3, Christian Sturk. Alongside car number 9, that is driven by Patrick Kolkowski. Row 4, it's rig 8, Wojtek Karas behind the wheel, alongside the number 5 of Igor Karaton. The last runner is rig number 9, will be Patrick Kolkowski, rig 4, which is Arthur Pitka behind the wheel. That is your starting lineup as we get tires and brakes up to racing temperature for our 20-minute adventure. This is the last one of the day here from Sim Racing Chicago, an online group from around the country, competed earlier today. Then we just had our fastest of the fast run their race. Now we'll wrap things up with our final race. The B group gets set to go racing. Different sounds from different cars. That's the beauty of GT3 racing. Inline 6s, turbo 6s, turbo 8s. We don't actually have any naturally aspirated V8s in here. No Mercedes AMGs represented. All the cars lined up. It is all BMW, Ferrari, and Porsche machinery. Some of the newest, some of the fastest, some of the best GT3 machines racing in global competition. Again, one more time, we are on location live from Sim Racing Chicago in Algonquin, Illinois. Make sure you check out the website to learn how to reserve your party. Join us here for some racing with the iRacing Motorsport Simulation software. Some of the best in the world, I would say. So many different cars to choose from, so many tracks. All sampling of what's in service here today. Overchuk in that teal and yellow BMW is going to lead us to the green. Trejo on the outside of that black Ferrari. Time to go racing one final time from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Green flag flies and we're racing in Braselton, Georgia. And a crash already. One car, big impact to the back. It's Arthur Peitka in the wall on the start. Got a long way to go, though, so get back rolling and see if you can overtake anybody left. There's more trouble. This time it's Christian Cverc. No, it's, yes, it is Christian Cverc in the Ferrari. Let's have a look here to see if we can find out what happened. The turn number one just got loose all on his own. Nice avoidance there. But tires not fully up to 10th for the lead, though. Here comes Trejo. Miro Trejo having a look. Ramas for Sam Robbins in the background, but for the lead, the battle is on. BMW versus Ferrari. Who's got the legs on the straightaway? I'd give the advantage to the BMW normally, but this 296 is relatively new to iRacing. Its strengths and weaknesses still being discovered in the slipstream. That Ferrari much more slippery than the BMW. Maybe out-dragged in terms of power figures. Earlier braking for Trejo, but a nice crossover, good run through 10B, and he's all over the tailpipes of Overchuk as they complete their first lap of about 15 here at Road Atlanta. And trouble for the number 8, Wojtek Karas is around at turn 10B. Here's a look at it. They just kind of got together there, and maybe look at that one more time from high above to really get a sense for what happened. He was off course, kind of merges in front of the other Porsche, and partially self-inflicted there, but he'll drop down to 8th place. Runs wide at 3, so he's got to get that car back together and get all the grass off the tires, and probably a little hot as well from sliding around all over the surface. Up front, though, still 0.4 of a second separating your top 3. And bring in now Tim 6. That is Mike Malashevsky trying to run them down. 3 different manufacturers represented in the top 3 at the moment. Malashevsky started this race in 4th, gained a spot early. Now trying to eat into the advantage that Trejo and Overchuk have over him. Two laps complete and 17 minutes to go. The front 3 have broken away. Back in 4th place, you'll find Patrick Olakowski behind the wheel. He started 6th. He's up 2 spots, followed by Sam Robbins. Started 3rd. He's dropped 2 spots, so going the wrong direction here early in his Porsche 911 992 GT3. 3rd gear, he'll leave it in 3rd as he nibbles the curb there at the turn 3 apex. Have to thread this so delicately. Not using a lot of the curbing in the S's, which I think is a smart call. The Porsche can take curbs at a pretty sharp angle, but shallow angle curbs, this car doesn't seem to like very much. If you get the tires up on it, it'll hook the car around. Once you're sideways in the Porsche, that rear engine likes to slide out the center of mass pretty rearward on this car. Turns it into a pendulum when you get it out sideways. But for all of its disadvantages, the advantages, really awesome on braking, very stable on acceleration with all that weight over the rear tires. Really well sorted from a balance perspective. Very unique in that it's the only rear engine GT3 car, not only in iRacing, but in operation. First 5 minutes are complete, still under a second between the top 2. Overchuk to turn number 1. Ramiro Trejo is not that far behind, and to note, laps are only about a 10th off of Overchuk, so the opportunity for him to run the leader back down still exists, very much so. That several story drop into the S's. What a sight to see here at Road Atlanta. I've had the opportunity to visit this track once back in 2019. And it was just as breathtaking in person as it is in the sim, perhaps even more so. Here's a look at a battle for 6th place. Araton and Christian Cverc on a bit of a recovery after his turn 1, lap 1 issue, but he's running lap times that are good enough to run 3rd, which is where he, almost where he qualified. He started 5th, but car number 3. Little slip up there from Ericsson, and that'll open the door for Svirt. Now it's a drag race here between the Porsche and the Ferrari. And is there a slip up here? Oh, it looks like a little bit of a slide there for Camille. Going the right direction now as through turn number 12. He's got a big run here. Burt now into turn number 1. Didn't quite have a look at him here. And while they battle, they're going to lose ground to 5th place car, which is trying to put distance. That's Robbins behind the wheel. Oh, slip up, and through goes Svirt. Takes the spot away from the number 5 machine. For Ericsson. All the while, looks like Overtook has put a pretty sizable gap, 1.8 seconds, on our 2nd place runner, Ramiro Trejo. Now, that was also his best lap of the race, which is concerning for everybody else when the leader is running his best laps and still driving away. I have to hope you can run him back down. We're nearing the halfway point now, 13.5 minutes to go. Pretty soon, Trejo is going to have Malashevsky to contend with, who's just 1 second behind him. Lap times this time through. Leader at a 1:20.052. Trejo at a 1:24, but how about a 1:20.3 for the 6th car, Malashevsky, and even quicker is the number 9 behind. That's Kowalkowski, a 1:20.5 and a 1:20.2 for Sam Robbins. So everybody's kind of converging here. While we might not have a battle for the lead heating up, we will have one for 2nd. Might be as much as 4 cars deep for the end of this race, so we'll have to keep our eye on all that. Road Atlanta, this is one of those courses that you just have to drive the racetrack. You have to race the racetrack instead of racing each other. So happens that you pass other drivers, but really you're passing the test of the 2.5-mile roller coaster that is this racetrack. Not much has changed here with the course since its construction, other than the removal of gravity cavity back in 1997. The course was reconfigured. Trouble for Ericsson. This is at, looks like turn 7. And let's have a look at what happened. This is at 5. And they're a little hot. Runs over the rumbles. Loses it on corner exit, and a bit too aggressive with the curbing. Will bite you at Road Atlanta. Big, tall curbs, and a lot of times GT cars can take these at slow speed, but get into the high-speed stuff, and the car starts to bounce. They're really stiffly sprung. I had a conversation yesterday at Indianapolis with GT4 driver Kevin Bohm, who was telling me that the BMW in particular is really stiffly sprung because it's such a heavy car, and with that stiffness, you don't get body control, the body roll that you want. You want to be able to feel that weight transfer. If the car's too stiff, you don't feel it. The car just handles and performs, but it doesn't communicate well as a car with a little bit of roll does. So especially these GT3 cars, which are stiffer sprung than the GT4s, you're going to especially have that, and you don't have the what they call the butt dyno to tell you exactly what's going on behind the wheel. Have a little bit of motion feedback here, courtesy of the Sim Racing Chicago simulators. Not quite the same as feeling the car slide out from underneath you, where you can catch it in the curbing. Probably a no-no at the exit of turn 5 on just 2 tires. Halfway down, half to go. Ten minutes out remaining here for Overtook. So as we get down to the final 9 minutes here, the two Ferraris are wrong car number, so the second place Ferrari is actually that of Burke behind the wheel, and then the other Ferrari is Trejo in the other 296 here. That is Trejo behind the wheel. He is entering now turn number 1. In sixth place, Sverk is in second in this Ferrari. Go up to turn 6 and 7, 8 minutes to go now, and it's 2 seconds between Sverk and the lead car. That is Overchuk. And he still has a 2-second advantage. The closest battle on the racetrack at the moment would be the one for the lead. It's still pretty tight between Kowalkowski and Robbins. We're running in 4th and 5th. So through turn 10B, here comes Overchuk up over the hill. He has just been rock solid, but last time by, Sverk was a little quicker. 2/10 to the good, and as actually that gap is coming down, it's under 2 seconds now. Sverk finally finds his rhythm here. And that was true again, another 1/10.5 gain for car number 1. Over the curbing here. It's still a 2-second differential between them two. And can it come down to the final 7.5 minutes? Overchuk has got to run. Be a little conservative line through there, but he's on a good lap now. 2.2 he's up. Watch that gap on the left-hand side of the screen, ebb and flow. Ferrari's going to be better in certain areas than the BMW, but the BMW is so good on that back straightaway section without slipstream. I don't know that the Ferrari might hang. Maybe on tracks with a lot of top end like Monza or Daytona, I'd want to be in that Ferrari, but I don't know that Road Atlanta is particularly well suited to that car. I'd probably be in a front engine car here, of which the BMW is an example of. 6 minutes, 50 seconds. Down to the final 5 laps. Oh, and Overchuk lost a little ground here in the chicane as well, but it's just so close, the ebb and flow between the two. Love watching the hand animations now new to iRacing G cars. You watch the upshifts and the downshifts. Watch the right hand here in the sim go up a gear. Down 2. Watch the right hand. There's the shift. And actually the pedals as well. You can watch the pedals be operated. .3 seconds. That was a really good lap for Overchuk. A 1:19.8 to a 1:20.3 for Sverk. How about this gap closing? Sam Robbins, Patrick Kowalkowski, the battle for 4th, and it's closing pretty quickly. 1.5-second gain for Robbins last time by. .6 seconds the differential between those two, and that is now the closest battle on the racetrack. Heavy braking into 10A, and a really good gain that time. 1.3 seconds the gap. It's closing pretty quickly. Battle for 4th. If Robbins can reel him in. 5 minutes to go. He can just do that. That was the fastest lap of anybody on the racetrack last time by. Sam Robbins just ran quickest lap of anybody in the field at a 1:19.34. Not the quickest lap of the race, but of entire field that last lap. So he's found pace late in this race. As the sun sets, the headlights will be coming on soon. Under 1 second. And Kowalkowski's got to run. Feeling the pressure now. If he can get within 9/10 of a second or so, that slipstream on the backstretch will begin to help Robbins reel in Kowalkowski. 1.2 at the exit of 7, so not quite there yet. Up the very long back straightaway, thousands of feet. You can land an airplane on the back straightaway here at Road Atlanta. Big gain there for Sverk last time by, 2.2 seconds back. He was 3.3. If he can make that same lap a couple more times, be in the conversation for winning this race. So our eyes glued to the closest battles. Again, going back to fourth place, 1.2 seconds between Kowalkowski and Robbins. 3 laps to go. Just being so precise. Robbins within 8 tenths, now 7 tenths of Kowalkowski. He's got to stay smooth, calm, and collected. You make a mistake now, and you're going to get passed. But you have a shot to defend. Only going to have to do it for 2 laps. But Robbins is closing and closing quickly. 7 tenths, 6 tenths, 5 tenths at the apex to 7. Overdrove it, though, a little bit. He's going to lose some of that ground back. It's going to cost him, even with the slipstream. Still losing ground here. Half that gap he had is gone. But out front, Greg Overchuk has 2 laps to go here from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. 2 minutes, 30 seconds to go. Christian Sverk, second. Alashevsky in third. All by his lonesome, but for fourth, that was a really good sector for Kowalkowski and put some distance again on Robbins, but Robbins was really eating him away in the first 2 sectors of the racetrack. There's the Porsche in fourth, out the front windshield. Big slam over the curb at turn 1. Robbins is hunting for every ounce of grip. He can find huge lunge into turn 3. Look how much ground he just made up. Nearly half a second in one corner. Really aggressive right now is Robbins, and Sam is right there at the exit. Oh, huge slide. He's pushing. The lead is down to 1.5 seconds, 1.4. Could the lead even swap here? Half a second between, they don't throw this away here. Much better line for Sam Robbins that time through. Half a second between them. Going to be close, especially in the braking zone. Out front, though, Overchuk is going to be heading down the hill, and here comes the white flag. 1 lap to go and a 1.5 seconds covering the front 2. And for fourth, it's even closer. Half a second. But just leaving 10B, Robbins gives it all back. He spends the entire lap working up to 10B and then gives most of it back away. 2.5 miles to contend. Overchuk, last time down the S's, the most critical area. Stay on course. Burke trying to close in, 1.8, 1.7. All the while, Sam Robbins trying to eat into Patrick Kowalkowski's advantage, and there is traffic ahead. Huge dive into 5, 4 tenths, almost 3 tenths. See if Kowalkowski can navigate the traffic. They touch. Contact with the traffic. Oh, big lunge up the inside. Not quite. Robbins has to try again. He's on the bumper now. Last run down the backstretch, and he'll have the draft. The battle for fourth is going to come all the way down to the final 2 corners. Out front, Greg Overchuk leads by a mile, but it's definitely closer for fourth place. Overchuk is going to take the checkered flag and win the B race. Here comes a lunge. Sam Robbins on the brakes, late into 10A. The 9's wide. Kowalkowski's off at 10. And here comes Robbins with a slowdown for the 9. Yes, Robbins. Whoa, what's going on? Crosses the finish line. He's still going to have a slowdown. I think it should drop him down the order. We'll see what the timing does. Big dramas for fourth place, though. Wow. And yes, it will trade the positions there. It will give... Well, Robbins still scored 5th, so maybe it's going to wait till all the results are complete. See how it sorts it, but Finishing with a slowdown, I think, puts you to the end of the lead lap. So let's see what happens when the last driver comes across the start-finish line. Is there a shift in the order? Like it. Let's go back again and look at that last run. The 9 and the 2. Just surprised that able to keep that spot with that big corner cut at 10B, but that was a dramatic finish. Another look at how it started. High above here into 10A, just drives in really hard to defend, cuts across the grass, remerges, able to come home in 4th place. And Robbins around the outside, he tried, could not get there. So, final race of the day is complete. Here is a look at your race results. Go on through, but at the top of the order, it is Overchuk, then it is Christian Sverk, and the correct Ferraris there. So Christian Sverk was 2nd, Malashevsky 3rd, Wolkowski 4th, and Robbins. Then it was Trejo in the number 3, followed by Karas, Karaton, and Paitka, the rest of your order. Well, Sim Racing Chicago finishing out a day here. That was exciting stuff. 3 races. Drivers at home and drivers here on site, but the day is complete. Prizes and awards being awarded here shortly. Make sure to check out the Sim Racing Chicago website to learn how you can book your own event here at Sim Racing Chicago. I'm Kyle Heyer. We'll join you next time for a future event here from Sim Racing Chicago.